It's no secret that we seem to be on the cusp of what could be a pretty dramatic recession. I know there's a lot of hope that we won't, but at this point, it feels almost inevitable. I don't enjoy getting political, but the recent tariffs that went into place certainly will play some factor into how things go moving forward. Suffice it to say, building a roller coaster from the ground up is extremely expensive, and amusement parks nowadays are getting pickier about who they hire to do this. It seems to me that there are a lot less prototypes being installed at parks, since so many of them have been burned by these new and upcoming technologies. This then begs the question, with such a small install base, does S&S have a chance of making it through these trying times? This video is very similar in concept to my video from almost half a year ago, talking about the potentially shaky ground that RMC stands on. I will be asking and answering similar questions, but with S&S as the focus this time. To spoil the rest of the video, I believe that S&S is in a particularly precarious position in that one wrong move could easily bring them toppling down. But if they stay their course, they could reap some benefits of the upcoming storm. I intend to dive into this question so that by the end, you know who S&S is and why I'm posing this question in video form. In order to better understand the situation, we need to go on a little history lesson. Here goes. The year is 1994, and Stan Checketts and his wife, Sandy, decide to start opening a new company, S&S Sports. With this company, they got their start manufacturing bungee jumping and trampoline equipment. In an effort to expand the business, Stan acquired several assets and employees from the former CCI, forming the short-lived wooden roller coaster division at the company. They moved on to acquire Aero as soon as it filed for bankruptcy, and slowly started to morph into more of a powerhouse of a company. Since they owned the assets of the former Aero company, this meant that any future maintenance and parts was up to S&S to assist parks and their Aero coasters. Skipping over some other details, S&S was eventually acquired by Sansei Technologies, based out of Osaka, Japan, which had also acquired Vekoma several years later. This new company, S&S Sansei, focuses primarily on a lot of the same things that the original S&S grew to support, but took on a life of its own, inspired greatly by the likes of RMC and other modern manufacturers. Their headquarters are still based out of Logan, Utah to this day, and this company still holds its claim to fame with their roller coaster and flat ride portfolio. While it isn't a guarantee, if your home park has a large-scale drop tower, it might be an S&S. The biggest thing that S&S is known for is their air-powered coasters and flat rides. They seem to have almost completely perfected these pneumatic designs, meaning that compared to the competition, their rides can tend to be somewhat more reliable. The coasters built by S&S seem to be focusing more on bringing more dynamic experience for riders than your typical roller coaster. This includes their air launch coasters and widely popular 4D free spins, and also the Axis coaster. However, their portfolio remains shockingly small compared to the competition. There are many reasons that could be causing that, and I intend to be answering that question to the best of my ability in the next sections. The full extent of the question I'm asking is whether or not SNS seems like it has a future in the amusement industry. There is a good case to argue here that it does, but, especially with the potential for the upcoming recession, a pretty bleak picture could come into light when we take a look at this company's reputation in the industry. As I spoiled before, I don't entirely believe that this company will fail soon or is completely on its way out, but there are some signs that could point in that direction, depending on how you look at them. The other thing I feel is super important to state here is that no, I do not want them to fail. This would lead to a decent number of individuals without jobs and bring even more financial hardship for more people, and I in no way, shape, or form want that for anyone. In order to gain a grasp on the overall situation, I would like to start out by comparing how many roller coasters have been built by SNS over the years versus its competition. Since 2001, SNS has installed 42 coasters around the world. Other manufacturers like B&M have built 93, and Vekoma has built the most at 240 coasters. Obviously, not all of these are large scale, but still, the difference is staggering. Where SNS has done far better is in their flat ride installations. Since the company was founded, around 78 different flat rides have been built by them. Their most common model is their drop tower, with a recent popular choice being their Scream and Swing ride. SNS fits right in line with the rest of the North American coaster manufacturers in that their numbers are small, but they seemingly focus, in many cases, on larger attractions. Their 40 free spin is a subversion of this, with over 12 installations of this particular ride model. The manufacturers with the largest number of installations all have one thing in common: family or kiddie coasters. A large number of installations from both Vekoma and Zamperla are small-scale kiddie coasters or family coasters that barely make a mark on the radar. These definitely do help inflate the numbers quite a bit, but for these companies to have a near constant influx of orders of these ride models keeps them as strong performers in the market. So why do I think that the number of coaster installations are as low as they are? I believe it mainly comes down to reliability. SNS is a manufacturer that loves to push boundaries. Whether it's speed, inversions, or powerful launches, it seems that SNS feels that there isn't anything they can't conquer. The inherent problem is that with launching systems like their air launches, there are a ton of moving parts, and unless these are designed and built perfectly, some issues are bound to rise up. This isn't just an issue with their air launches, however, and seems to be an issue that plagues nearly all of their coasters. Speaking from personal experience, when visiting Six Flags Great Adventure in 2024, it seemed like Joker, a 40 free spin, had quite a bit of downtime due to reasons unknown to us, but I'm curious if that's more of an issue with the ride model or the fact that it was at a Six Flags park. To me, it seems like the industry has a slight lack of confidence in SNS, which keeps their installation numbers low. As it stands, 15 of their 42 roller coasters are either defunct or standing but not operating. Each of these coasters experience these fates for a variety of reasons, but when looking at a ride like the former Hypersonic SLC at King's Dominion, the reason for its removal is clear to see. This coaster was a prototype and experienced frequent downtime. Truth be told, many of the issues were caused by what seemed to be the fact that the ride was a prototype, as well as the fact that the forces it exerted on itself were far stronger than it was realistically designed for. Plus, a lot of the technology that we had at the time just wasn't up to snuff. This coaster lived an extremely short life in terms of roller coasters, at a measly 6 years. Moreover, many of their other coasters have seen issues that have caused sales to significantly slow for them. For instance, Steel Curtain has had structural issues since it opened, which caused it to close recently and be modified with more supports. Gale Force at Playland's Castaway Cove had issues lining up with the launch fins, which caused that portion of track to initially be modified and then resulted in the entire coaster being retracked a year later. It doesn't generally paint a good reputation when your installations frequently need modifications shortly after they're built. Usually, a park wants to build a roller coaster, open it up for the season, and let things go off with as little of a hitch as possible. But with S&S, it seems like that isn't often the reality. I know I've mentioned this a bunch in this video, but with the tariffs in place, there's a couple of ways I see things going. Obviously, steel is going to get more expensive. At this point, that is a known fact. There's a chance that certain groceries and other items will get more expensive as well. All in all, the buying power of Americans is going to be lower in the coming years. As you can tell, I'm attempting to keep statements about these political topics as factual as I can. My channel is one where the most political I'm gonna get is the fact that Orion at Kings Island is a giga. Fight me. Please do me a favor and try to stay civil in the comments. Getting back into it, with potentially less buying power, there could be a smaller likelihood of people willing to take big trips to travel across the country to visit different regional amusement parks. This could lead to lower overall attendance at these parks. Moving on from this, S&S has two ways forward. Obviously, they could continue to focus on installing more 4D free spins, as this seems to be a very successful model for them. I'm personally going to be keeping an eye on the Axis coaster model, as this could be an easy sell to parks looking for a more extreme coaster that can either be launched or propelled with a standard lift hill. If they can continue to see more installations of the 4D free spin, which, by the way, contributed 12 new installations to their lineup since 2015, reminder, then this could easily be a safe strategy for them. I believe the name of the game is going to be lower cost, easy to reproduce coaster models with dynamic experiences for the short-term future, unless some of the aforementioned predictions don't come to light. If they could find a way to design compact layouts for rides like their Axis coasters that minimize support usage, therefore reducing overall material costs for the rides, I could easily see them continuing on in the future. It definitely does help that the parent company, Sansei Technologies, also owns Vekoma, meaning that the overall financial position of the parent company is more than healthy enough to sustain them both and weather the storm. I am somewhat surprised that S&S and Vekoma don't share homework more often, as this could be to the benefit of both manufacturers. To answer the overall question of this video succinctly, if S&S can iron out their present issues and continue to build up their portfolio with ride models like the 4D free spin, then I think that at some point, S&S could see an explosion on the market that could make them a huge competitor over the course of the next 10 years. As I mentioned previously, I really don't want to see this company fail, especially since some of the ideas and designs they have are truly unique and could provide for some insane new roller coasters. Also, the fact that they're the main company that maintains most aero coasters around the world. Where else are people going to get their parts? Hopefully, their Axis model can succeed, as it might prove to be a worthy successor to the likes of X at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This coaster model could bring some insane variety to a fairly saturated roller coaster market. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like and comment below and hit that bell icon. Special thanks to our Patreon supporter, Future Collective. $1 a month helps me bring even more content to you guys, and I even have some exclusive content coming, so check it out. Check the description below to find links to the rest of our pages. Thanks for watching the video, and ride on, Coaster Maniacs!